What's up, guys? I'm Chris, and today I'm going to be going over how to find leads, qualify them, and then kind of manage them all in a CRM so you can keep track of everything completely for free for people trying to start an SMMA on a budget. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so first I'm going to go over some of the tools that I really recommend you guys use, and these are the tools that I use to do my outreach for SMMA also. So the first tool I recommend is going to be Notion. So Notion is a great free software to create your own CRM tool. So there are a lot of CRM tools out there that will try to charge you a fee, and they may have some nice features, but if you are on a budget, then Notion is definitely the way to go. So I'll be posting a template to my Notion funnel in the description, so if you guys want to copy mine, you're more than free to. So here's a quick view of my lead template on Notion. So as you guys can see here, first we have qualified leads. So here I would create new leads. So for example, like if we're going to call like a mechanic, I'd call a mechanic here, and then I would open up by clicking on it here. Then I'd put how I found it, like found on Instagram, put his IG tag, see if they have a website. If they have a website, put the website link here. Facebook page if they have one. Are they running ads on Facebook? So then like ads, yes or no. And then I'd also look at their website and see if I could find any information on the owner here. So for example, like owner's name is John, right? And then here I would also start, whenever I do like a call or something, I would mark it down. So like, for example, today's the 15th, so Feb 15th, called, but no answer. So if I called them and there's no answer, for example, I would then just take the mechanic part here, drop it into here. Let's say I do get a hold of someone, then what I would do is I'd put them into here if they wanted a follow up. If I got a text back, I put them here. And then usually if I call them enough times and there's like no response, I'd then email them, or if they request an email, I'd email them. Or then, so here's where I put all the people that I've already emailed, people that request to get like DM'd on Instagram, for example, I put in here. Meetings booked, put in here, declined here, and if the lead goes dead, then I put it here. So it's pretty basic, but it's pretty much all you need really. It's a nice way to organize everything. There is a control F function, so you can see specific people. And then yeah, so this is a template I use, and if you guys just want to copy it, it's free. I'll just put a link in the description of this video. So in my opinion, this next one is definitely a must, and it is the Metapixel helper. So this Chrome extension is a must, and it's free on the Google Chrome extension store, so you can just download it, install it on your browser, and then it'll be there. So it tells you if a website you are on has a Metapixel running. So this will let you know if they are running ads and doing any tracking on who visits their website, which is then going to be used for running ads. So most of the time, if they only have the page view action set up, then more times than not, they're actually not running ads on their website. So it can also be used to see what kind of conversions they are recording, and you can bring this up during cold calls to explain if they are doing it wrong using the Metapixel and the information you get from the Metapixel helper. The next thing I want to go over is how to see if a company is running ads essentially. So there is a way to see if a company is running ads, but you need to find their business Facebook. So usually if you cannot find a Facebook page for the business you are qualifying, it is very likely that they are not running ads. If they are running ads, it is a lot less likely that you will be able to get a deal with them. So that is something to keep in mind when doing outreach. All right, so here's just a random company on Facebook that is definitely running ads. So once you're on the Facebook page, if they're a smaller company, I've noticed usually in the About section, you'll be able to see something called page transparency. And if you click on that, it'll tell you if they're running ads or not. But for this one specifically, if it's a bigger page, so you always check both of these. If you just scroll to the very bottom right here, you'll see page transparency. And if you click see all, it'll actually tell you right here at the very bottom that this page is currently running ads. So, right? So then you can go to the ad library, for example, and then you'll see what ads they're running. You'll be able to see how they're, like what kind of conversion campaigns they're using. You'll be able to see where they're being run to. And this will give you insight on if they're running ads or not. And again, if you find out that someone is running ads, it's probably going to be a lot more difficult to close them as a client. It's not like impossible, but it is just something to keep in mind when you are qualifying leads. The next thing is tracking stats. So something that is really underrated in my opinion is tracking your stats for outreach. So once you have a big enough sample size, it will become easy to predict how much outreach you need to do before you can get a meeting. From there, you'll eventually be able to tell how many meetings you need to have before you close a client, and then tracking your stats only takes a couple minutes a day, but the information will be really useful when you are trying to scale up your agency. So I would recommend tracking stats on a Google Sheets as it's free and easy to set up. So actually finding leads for free, like this is the juicy part. So the easiest way to find leads would definitely be Google Map, and it's free. So it is probably really obvious, but it is actually really effective because Google Maps allows you to gauge how the business is doing by looking at their Google reviews, find their hours of operation, get their phone number, find their website, shows you what may be their Facebook and Instagram. And then, so what I like to do is work my way through each page of qualifying leads while creating a Notion profile for the businesses and then calling them if they meet my criteria. Right, so like for example, here on Google, I just typed in mechanics in Toronto, and as you can see here, when I click more businesses, there is a ton of leads, all the way up to like 10 pages, I think here. Yeah, all the way up to like page 10. There's just so many different leads here you can reach through. And then so what I would do here is I would just work my way from page 1. I click on the business here. I then put their name into a Notion profile, copy in their hours of operation here, put down their phone number, and then I would just go ahead and check out their website here. So if I click on their website, oh, here it is. So yeah, just go into their website here, see if I can find the name of the owner, just because it makes cold calling a lot more easy. So I go into About Us, see if there's any information about the owner or the founder here, and then kind of just look for like their email, look for their socials, just look for all that good stuff, and then kind of put it into a profile, which I would then qualify them, see if they would, if I think they'd be a good fit for us. Like as we can see here, they are already running a Facebook pixel, so that's something to also keep in mind. And then yeah, so this is like you can just work your way through Google Maps every single area like you're aware of, every area in your country, and it is free. You don't have to pay for like any lead sourcing. And in my opinion, if you're on a budget, this is one of the better ways to go, as each Google Maps profile gives you so much information on each business that you click on. All right, so once you have all the leads information and you can qualify them, you can then decide if you think they'd be a good fit for you. And if you do think they are going to be a good fit for you, then you can just go ahead and start reaching out to them. So now to explain my outreach process. So my first 3 attempts at outreach will be using Skype's phone plan to call the business while they're open. And now if you're on a budget, you can just use your phone. That's totally fine too. So I found the most success calling businesses in the morning, as it usually gets busier later in the day. Sometimes when I do call them in the morning, they do tell me to call them back later. And if that's the case, I'll just take note on Notion and go ahead and follow up with them later on. Usually what I also do is I set a little alarm on my phone, so I know, and so like I know and remember to reach out to them, and I don't forget about it later on in the day, because a lot of things usually happen throughout the day, right? So I run OBS in the background, which is a screen and audio capture device. It's what I use to record YouTube videos too. And I do that to record my calls so that I can review my calls to see if I made any mistakes or if I could have done things better. So you can only do so many cold calls in a day, really. But if you do have some downtime, it's nice to always just review, kind of go over it, and just see what you think you're doing wrong, or like why someone said no to you, or if you could have done anything to potentially get a meeting booked in with a potential client. All right, and then so after the first call, I would then move the lead into whichever category now applies. So I would say about 70% of the time from my experience, the lead will not answer. So I'll call them 2 more times for a total of 3 attempts. So I'll call them 1 time each day when I'm doing my cold calls. I won't call them more than once in a day usually. And then if there is a voicemail option, I would leave them a voicemail and just asking for a call back, not really explaining what I'm looking for. Because I figured that would probably lower the chances of them calling back if they're not interested. So we wouldn't even have the chance to try and convert like a decline into a potential meeting or to get them interested at all. So if after the third call there is still no response or the lead does not get back to me, I will then look to email or message them. And then so going into message outreach now. So ideally you would have gotten into contact with the owner and figured out if they were interested or not within 3 calls. But if not, then it is now time to message them. So usually you'll be able to find a business email, Instagram, or Facebook off Google Maps. So here's the sequence that I recommend. So first try emailing them for a maximum of 5 emails. Don't do it too like close together. I say like wait a couple days. And before emailing them again, just following up on the first email, not the same email as the first. So you should probably have like a chain of emails that you try and use to warm them up within the 5 email chain. So assuming you have a professional business Instagram, see if you can contact them through Instagram. And if the first 2 do not work, then they're probably a dead lead, but it wouldn't hurt to try messaging them on Facebook too. Okay, and then dead leads and declines. So if all the outreach failed or you got into contact with the owner and they declined, then you officially have a dead lead. So I would then store their phone number and email into a Google Sheets to build up a texting and emailing list. This is so that whenever you notify your mailing list about anything, they will also be notified, which might potentially turn the dead lead back into warm leads. All right, so I hope you guys enjoy my little explanation of how to do like a little outreach flow. Hopefully it was helpful. I tried to make it free, so like nothing in here should cost you any money except for maybe the Skype call plan, but most people have a phone plan anyway, so you can just use your phone if you don't want to record your calls. That should be fine. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next one.